Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It is the first Tuesday back from the San Antonio annual convention. We had a wonderful experience there. The weather was beautiful. The crowd and the audience was full of energy. The instruction on stage was uplifting and edifying. We had some great recognition of some great achievements from members of the team, most of whom, I'm pleased to say, are people that participate on these regular calls. Which is really, really precious. To me, that's one of the highlights, is the recognition pieces. What I'd like to do for today is, I'm mindful that there are some on the call that couldn't, for one reason or another, make the event. And so what I would like to do is allow those that were on the call at the event to just take a couple of minutes. And maybe if you want to raise your hand via the chat and say, I've got something I'd like to share, or I might just give you a gentle prod and call on you by name directly. But I would like to give each of you a chance to share some highlights. So I'd like you to begin right now, those of you that were there, thinking what were some of your aha moments? What were some of your feel-good moments? What were some of the things that you thought were your precious takeaways from the experience in San Antonio this past weekend? Like I said, I see people on the screen here today that were there, and I see people that weren't. And I want this to be for everyone. It's interesting, even those that were there will have very different experiences that they would share, and that will be interesting for us as well. So without further ado, is there anyone that would like to kick us off and begin by sharing one of their aha moments or one of their special moments from the weekend in San Antonio this past weekend? Everyone's gone quiet and shy. Madeline, go on. Go on.
Okay.
I can.
Yeah, we'll start with Madeline, then we'll go to you, Charlie, afterwards.
I was thinking about this since last night. Bernadette asked on the Align with Success call. I think what came alive to me is, from humans being more, intent and mechanism. That exercise of 100% intent and mechanism, you can use whatever mechanism. So there was a variety of tools, and there was a lot of content on mechanism, and there was a lot of content on intent. And not only your personal why, but the person whom you're prospecting, customer, and whatever type of distributor that they will become. So that became clear, and the importance of vision, the clear vision. So again, so much of what we're taught in Humans Being More was emphasized there, and that we have choices. We have choices for, it made more real to me that 100 name list, and that we're really sorting what all of that means. I was particularly impressed with the presenters. We had quite a few from the Platinum Alliance group who were excellent, very professional in what they had to present. So it's nice to be part of that team. And as you said, those that have been presenting here, the practice that we've had. The one speaker that really caught my attention was Louis Kasuda, and the way that he clearly presented the tap rooting and kind of the major differentiation of this reimbursement plan, compensation plan, as compared to what we had in the past. We've been learning it all year long. It was dealing with it. Obviously, not everybody in the audience answered the qualification, and so it was a very good clarification. So I thought, all in all, well, not all in all, it was an excellent perspective to be able to hear that we have different customers and different personality styles, nothing that we haven't had before in that flexible communicator. So much of what we realize that we need to be conscious and aware of when we are building the kind of business we want with the intention and the vision that we have.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you, Madeline. And you're right. It's that variety is really, really important as well, in recognizing variety of tools, variety of intent, and variety there, I think, is critical, because as we look at the audience that we have, the network of maybe even your own personal group or the network of Nikken as a whole, it is like that old metaphor of casting a net, into an ocean, into the water, and you pull up all sorts, don't you? And you do in an audience, in a business like ours, you get every representation of society can come into your business, or you can be exposed to in your business. and learning how to respond and adapt, I think is really important that way. Really good, really good. Okay, so we'll go to Charlie. Then after Charlie, Michelle, we'll go to you next.
Well, with me, there was three particular things that set out. Susan with her M3, Rick with his tools and his ease, and Mike with his final approach to the law of attraction. And I'm going to choose just the one with Michael with his law of attraction.
Okay.
Now, we've seen this before in the past, and he's done it on numerous occasions. But this time, he seemed to have so much empathy for us and was able to come across in a much more of a personal basis than he has in the past. So before I was hearing the words, and now I felt the message. And it really struck me the fact that we live so much in where we are in the past and not where we're going, and being there and visualizing ourselves in the future where we want to be and what have you. We all have goals, and we look at those goals, and until you put them into action, those goals are just a wish list. And he brought it forth for us, showing how get out of the wish list, start living it, start acting as if you're there, and the things will happen for you. So that message stuck through to me more than
yeah. Excellent, excellent. Yeah, I've heard that law of attraction message myself as well. Powerful as well. And when it resonates, when we connect with it, that's the thing. It's incredible what we can do when we start to think so differently. We do really, I firmly agree with them. We do firmly, truly create our own futures based on what we think, feel, and believe. That has an immediate impact on the way our lives can start to change. Michelle.
It was a great event. Thank you, Ben, for all of your participation and for the luncheon. It was really, really awesome. There was a lot of takeaways this weekend. I was very fortunate to sit with Luis Kasuga on Saturday night over supper. And we got to know each other a little bit. What an amazing man. Truly, truly from the heart. That is so cool to see that in corporate. But I had an aha with him. And he showed me how they're doing the business very, very simply, keeping it simple, especially for this upcoming generation. It has to be simple. And what it came down to is people want to see results. When they see the results, the belief is built. Without the belief, nothing moves. So it was just absolutely fascinating. And he said this is whether it's product or whether it's business. Product, they want to have a product experience. We do the product demo, there's a belief built, and it moves forward. Is that not right? Right. Now, if somebody wants to earn money, when they start earning money, they see that a belief is built and it starts moving forward. It completely eliminates the dragging of people. He also said that we need to build it, start with why, start with the why all the time. Lead with the vision, and discover their why through questions, through conversation, and figure out exactly what they want. And he recommended the book, The Answer is in the Question. I don't remember the fellow's first name, but his last name is Peace. So that was my biggest aha. I mean, I can't say it was really an aha. It just kind of made it simple and brought it to the forefront.
Yeah, excellent. And again, great perk and privilege that you shared there, just to have, sit next to Luis Kasuga from Latin America and to pick his brains, hear his question, ask him some questions. He was up on stage as well, of course, but it's that ability to network as well, isn't it? And be side by side with people, spend some time with them. Again, really, really To me, that's always one of the perks of events like this. Nancy Claremont Carr. Oh, great minds think alike. I said your name exactly as you raise your hand. Please go for it, Nancy.
Did you have a question for me, or was that just you know?
No, I was going to pass over to you. You've got a beautiful smiley face, so I wanted to see it.
Okay, so for me, it was a combination of timing and my readiness to actually be able to commit to and follow through on a big plan, and then Luis Kasuga and the other guy, what's the other Latin American guy's name?
Gustavo.
For some reason, it was a 1-2 punch for me with what they both said in the events, and it made me commit in my mind to 2 big events right there. But even beyond that, I guess it's sort of like what Michelle said. It wasn't news, but because I was ready in my mind to commit to things, I've already met with Mike DiMuccio, and we have a plan for me to still be Team Kaizen and Platinum this year. So, you know, just sometimes it's a combination of you being ready to sink in and do the do, and then hearing a few key things, and that's what it was for me this time. There were phenomenal speakers, and yeah, I met some new people, got to know Veronica better, and I don't know, just here's Veronica. How old is she? And the other gal, Bella,
yeah.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I thought she was 28. She's 37. So, you know, she must be the new Ken, but whatever. You see these people, and again, no matter where you are in your cycle, a lot of it comes to, well, if they can do it, I can do it. That plus the readiness. I mean, to me, that's always what it is. So.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah. And you raise a good point there as well. Sometimes we hear messages at these events that we have heard before, but when we're in a different place,
totally.
My life is in a different place, it can end up being a very different message, can't it?
It's extremely, it's like they're talking to me.
Yeah.
That was my message. Okay, I agree.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, I like that. Sherry Danzig, you were up on stage a few times, and a great help. Also, unique position of babysitter on the side. Thank you very much. When Kim and I were on stage, she looked after Oliver for us as well. Thank you so much, Sherry. But you were up on stage, getting recognized, getting celebrated, and also speaking. So, for you, tell us a little bit about your experience this weekend.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't fire me after my experience with Oliver. It was a great event for me for a lot of reasons, and I do agree with what everyone's been saying. Timing, I think, you learn so much from watching other people, and the thing I walked away from was about how can I up my game? How can I be more professional?
Yeah.
It was definitely probably the biggest thing. Well, there were 2 things that I realized I'm not doing a good job of. One is to have to speak from my vision. I have a vision and I get to it, but I don't think I lead with it enough. I think I can get, more into the products and not really speak on the bigger end of it. So I really heard that, and I'm going to hone my skills by having, a 30-second that can capture mission, the vision, and the product, the vision, and the business. The other thing, and this was Gustavo, when he was talking about the different types of events, and I realized I really stepped away. It was kind of a thing that just happened with Atlanta, and it's like, okay, I'm going to be the leader and step up, and myself with my team have weekly events and do a weekly online event as well. And one of the things that came out at the lunch, when we did the launch partner lunch, was to realize that I don't know why I've been keeping the launch partner thing small and not expanding it to my team. And so I had this vision that I sent an email out to my team, people that are active, and I'm talking to them yesterday and today. So we're going to have a weekly event. I'm going to get everyone that wants to claim to it. Their face is going to go on that flyer, which is going to be, a way to include them, more people on the team, into being launch partners. I don't know. I had it like in my mind, you had to be at a certain level or something. But, it's like I want to meet people where they are and expand the amount of events that we're doing. So that was a really big aha for me.
Yeah, excellent. I love that aha, because that aha is action related, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the last thing was, and I've heard Susan do this a number of times, but it was so powerful to hear that M3 strategy. I actually went back to my room and changed my 30-second commercial that I was doing the next morning to put that in there, because I think that's another piece that really needs to be. We need to be waking people up to the fact that there's a better strategy. If you ever want to be wealthy, I'm not going to get you there.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. I'll share. My big takeaway from this event was I always go there. I want to observe as much as I can. Of course, I want to see as many of my team as possible. Of course, it's always the chance to build rapport and connect with people and say hi and catch up. That to me, that social aspect is actually a very important part of the events for me. That's why in Orlando, I deliberately had some sessions or potential session times where there were no sessions, so that we could have that networking time and chance to catch up. That to me is really, really precious. A big aha for me was trying to put myself in the shoes of others and saying, what would be my big takeaway if I was in this person's situation, if I was at this stage of the business? What would be something important for me to go home and feel? What would be something important for me to go home and do? And importantly, if I didn't get to the event, what would be a critical, important message that I would need to hear from those that went? And I've given that some thought, and that's this. What of all the positions in the Nikken business is the most important? We often talk about certain ranks in the compensation plan being the most important. Sometimes people say it's all about creating more silvers. Sometimes it's all about if we're gold, because then we're past the silver and we're on the way to platinum and so on. And maybe it's that time when you've just gotten enough confidence, enough experience and credibility that you can finally get up on stage and be one of those keynote speakers at the event. I know a lot of people aspire to those opportunities. What is the most important position in Nikken? My answer is this, and it's for everyone that went to the event, and it's for everyone that didn't for whatever reason prevented them. The most important position in Nikken is the one that you currently hold right now. No one else holds it. No one else has the privilege of being in your shoes, living in your home, being with your team other than you. You may be an executive. You may be a silver, a diamond, a royal diamond, or a gold. The position and rank is irrelevant. The most important thing is each of us has a unique role to play in the building up of Nikken and in the building up of our own Nikken business. And that means the most important responsibility in Nikken is not defined by hierarchy. It's defined by our willingness to own our own responsibilities. So for each of us, the most important position in the business is the one I hold right now. And I think that is really, really important for us to come away feeling empowered. Because so often, if I'm a silver struggling to get to gold and everyone says it's all about being gold, I'm just not quite there. And I'm disempowered. Yeah? Or maybe if I'm a diamond and they say it's all about creating new silvers and I'm not creating silvers enough, I go, I'm not there. The reality is, if we want to feel empowered and in control of our business, the most important spot is the one we're in right now. Yeah, it really is. I heard this beautiful example of some gentlemen trying to move a piano, a grand piano. Those things are heavy beasts, from one room into another. And they were trying, there was a lot of them, they were trying one way or the other, they couldn't do it. And they were strategizing all these different strategies that sounded so smart and so clever and so brilliant. If we get, order by age, order by height, order by strength around the table, and we lift it up around the piano. If we lift it up, then we can get it into this other room. And they were failing. And then one person said, why don't we just do this? Why don't we just all pull in close together and just lift where we stand? And that just sounded too simple. Oh, that's so simple. It's silly. Well, let's just give it a go. It worked. Yeah. And to Michelle's, to Madeline's point earlier, there are lots of different tools. There are lots of different things out there. If we all just pull in stand together, shoulder to shoulder, and lift where we stand, whether we're tall or small, strong or weak, old or young, whatever it is, whether we're a diamond or a silver, an executive or a royal, it really doesn't matter. We just lift where we stand and we move things. It's a simple strategy, but that is the way that we can move our business to another level. That's my closing point, ladies and gentlemen. What I would do is Connie shared a great thought just before we got started. She's about to catch up with a friend of hers in the business that was at the event to get a debrief. And I would suggest, if you couldn't make it to the event over the weekend for whatever reason, of course, there's these calls like this, it'll give you a flavor. But maybe there's someone in your team that did go that you might just want to get a bit more intimate with on some of the details. I think that would be time well spent. Do it and do it soon, because it's the emotion that you feel at these events that really makes things happen. One thing I mentioned when I was speaking is the time to extend an invitation to act on something is when someone's feeling it. So that's really, really important that we consider that. Yeah, and of course, Michelle was saying, share with your team as well. Yes, regardless of the size of your team, keep in mind what we just said. Your position that you hold is the most important position in NECAN. So share it with people. Let people know. Nancy wants to share one more aha. Before she does that, Sue asked, is there a date for Orlando? I've got a couple of dates in mind that I'm playing with right now. As soon as I have it, I will let you know. But please rest assured there will be an Orlando event within the schedule as there is normally. So don't fear about that. We will get that out to you, hopefully sooner rather than later. So please, Nancy, please share one more thought.
I'm assuming that won't interfere with the Team Kaizen trip to Japan, whatever happens.
No, it won't. That's why I'm looking at a couple of different dates.
Okay, so here's an aha, and I want Sherry to hear this. When Sherry was up on stage talking, everybody has fears. She said one of her biggest fears was speaking. You could have hit me with a bowling ball. That shocked me so much. What she communicated from on stage was so powerful, and because she was so passionate about what she was saying, I would have never known in a million years that that was one of her fears. And it reminded me that we all blow up our fears bigger than life. It just was like, wow, if she was afraid of that, look what she can do. It came off without a flaw. I mean, you may not think that, Sherry, but the message was crystal clear, and it was just delivered with such passion. And so I think if we do that with whatever our fears are, just blow through it like that with passion, we get over a lot of ourselves that way. So that was a huge aha after Sherry got off the stage. So anyway.
Excellent. Oh, fantastic. Glad you shared that. Thank you. Bob Satterwhite wanted to share an aha moment too. Go for it, Bob.
Thanks, and I'll be quick, but it was Mike, and he said this probably 100 times before, but his way he introduced to Bruce Black, and in what he was doing then as a young person and as he approaching this millionaire, those steps that he shared was an aha for me. It was amazing. And it gives you that freedom. I've got to go back and look at my notes, but to approach that, quote, chicken list.
Yeah. I think we all have people on our chicken lists, don't we? I think it's important that we look at those and have a go. Get some people off that list and approach them, have conversation with them. And it is, I do find that it's never as scary as we originally thought. To Nancy's point, fear is often a highly inflated emotion in the context of reality. I think it's good to do that. Get the checking list out, get some names off that, and have a go. Start contacting sooner rather than later. Okay, well, it's I think it's go time, isn't it? We've had some great instruction, shared some great experiences, had some great testimonials, shared lots of love and hugs over the weekend, and we've come back energized, uplifted, edified. We know where to go, what to do. So let's go. Let's do it. Thank you all very much. Take care. We'll speak soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ben. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Ben.